Hi, and welcome to a little journey that we can all go on together. We can learn more about inclusive leadership. Within inclusive leadership, we're going to look at issues concerning race, class, gender, and equity. And there's issues that concern inclusive leadership. We're also going to look at how leaders in education and coaching successfully apply inclusive leadership and challenges of being an inclusive leader. So what is inclusive leadership? Inclusive leadership is leadership that includes the contributions of all stakeholders in the community or organization. Inclusion means being at the table at all levels of organization, being a valued contributor and being fully responsible for your contribution to the ultimate results. All that technical jargon is very difficult to get through, but what does it really mean? It means as a leader being open to a variety of ideas, knowledge, perspectives, approaches, and styles from everyone. When you have so many more styles and situations and different points of view, as a leader, you have so much more to gain from and to take from your followers. The following is a video from the Deloitte company in Australia, which I think greatly shows kind of what we mean when we discuss inclusive leadership.
It doesn't matter who you are or where you work. We're not dealing with business as usual anymore, and we won't be again.
Economic turbulence and fractured markets, the extreme business of business. Our world is hyper-connected, and disruption is constant.
Diversity of customers, diversity of ideas, diversity of talent.
As has been said before, it's volatile, ambiguous, complex. It's easy to feel overwhelmed and uncertain about how to thrive or even survive, uncertain about how to lead.
The old hero model of leadership is old. Standing alone, pointing the way forward, carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. That model was built for a different time.
Change is in the wind. Talking with the best of the best, we can see that a new way of leading is emerging. Leading from the center, not from the top. Deliberately leading through diversity, not in spite of it.
Inclusive leaders see diversity as their greatest opportunity, not their biggest threat. In this brave new world, inclusive leaders tap into the wisdom of the crowd, the diverse crowd. We do leadership differently with 6 signature traits.
Commitment,
Courage,
Cognizance of bias,
Cultural intelligence,
Curiosity,
collaboration. Inclusive leadership, it starts with you.
Now, I think that video brings up many great points and many great ideas. My biggest, takeaways, if you will, the quotes, the things that stood out the most for me is diversity of customers, diversity of ideas, and diversity of talent. Everything is changing. If we continue to stay in the same mold, we are not staying ahead of the game as leaders. And as leaders, we must lead from the center, not from the top. We can't overlook people. We can't stand on top of them, looking down, kind of pushing our way and making our ideals everyone else's ideals. We got to lead from the center and have everybody come together and have them realize the great things that we are all going to do together. The 6 signature traits it discusses: commitment, courage, cognizance of bias, cultural intelligence, curiosity, and collaboration. As we continue to explore this, I wanted to look at a leader that was kind of maybe one that we wouldn't think about when we're discussing inclusive leadership. But Nelson Mandela, in my opinion, was just an amazing leader, and he was able to ignite a whole country. As many of us know, Mandela was the president of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. But prior to that, he was a lawyer in South Africa, and he was an activist beyond the term activist. He was eventually imprisoned for 27 years for nonviolent protests, accused of conspiracy to overthrow the state. What happened to Mandela is he became too large for white supremacists in South Africa, and they feared what Mandela could cause and what could happen from his leadership. So basically, he was imprisoned on a bogus crime, and for 27 years he spent in prison. He could have come out angry. He could have come out very upset at kind of what his white countrymen did, but he didn't. The following is a video of Mandela accepting an award at the Laureus World Sports Awards. I'm not familiar with the award show, but this video, very short, I think exemplifies what Mandela's, what his insights were and what his overall goals were. It also struck me to be very personal to myself because he relies so much on sport, and as a coach and as a strength conditioning teacher, he says what I think a lot of us coaches try to say all the time.
Thank you. I am happy to be with you tonight at the first Laureus World Sports Award. Sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language they understand. Sport can create hope where once there was only despair. It is more powerful than governments in breaking down racial barriers. It laughs in the face of all types of discrimination. The heroes are standing with me are examples of this power. They are valiant, not only in the playing field, but also in the community, both local and international. They are champions, and they deserve the world's recognition. Together, they represent an active, vigorous Hall of Fame, a Hall of Fame that goes out into the world, spreading help, inspiration, and hope. Their legacy will be an international community where the rules of the game are the same for everyone, and behavior is guided by fair play and good sportsmanship. I ask you now to rise and join me in commending the original inductees into the World Sports Academy Hall of Fame.
Mandela's story is well documented in the movie Invictus when he South African hosts the 1995 Rugby World Cup, and on a team full of white players, Mandela doesn't let race become an issue, despite being imprisoned 27 years, as I discussed earlier, for being a black activist. And his main point was sport, but his leadership reached so much further. He leaded a country that was in total disarray. He demonstrated that despite race, health, socioeconomic standing, and age, all South Africans were equal. And they all bought in because he led from the center and not from the top. As we look at the leadership challenges of being an inclusive leader, according to Opportunity Now, which is a London-based data service, it says you've got to be a pioneer. This type of stuff doesn't happen overnight. It must be a whole system change. You must be very flexible with your own style, and it must match others. And you can't be hierarchical. Again, this center leading out, a massive concept that kind of is what inclusive leadership is all about. Successful inclusive leadership must build a sponsorship and change agent group, define the strategic imperative for inclusive leadership, identify the organization's inclusive leadership gap, equip leaders to become great inclusive leaders, and assess the outcomes and ensure senior accountability. Again, this information according to Opportunity Now. The characteristics that all great inclusive leaders must employ is you got to create diverse teams, provide a tailored coaching and mentoring team, being trusting of others and honest, demonstrate a genuine interest and respect of differences in others, being open about your own strengths and weaknesses, being authentic and consistent in getting to know people in your team personally. A lot of times leaders in a strong inclusive leadership team must look at themselves and find their weaknesses and employ people that will bring out their strengths that can cover up for the leader's weaknesses. From the assigned reading of Kouzes and Posner, the things that stood out the most were the PRIDE acronym: personal, responsibility, and delivering excellence. And we're all held accountable. And the 5 practices of any exemplary leadership: you must model the way. You must inspire a shared vision. Don't just tell people why things are going to be greater or better. You have to inspire them and show them. You have to enable everybody to act. This can't be a one-man show. You have to encourage the heart, really tug on their strings, let them know why it's so important to them, and challenge the process. Don't just go along with everything that's always been done. I've learned a lot from this class, and especially from inclusive leadership. I hope that this presentation can be somewhat beneficial for somebody, hopefully for everybody. Thank you.